This is the last time that will happen. the audio again for some reason. So speaking of the last time for things, welcome in, guys. This is the final episode of this season for Wings of Anadar. Potentially the end of Wings of Anadar specifically in general, but not the end of RoleThis. The reason I say it could be the end of Wings of Anadar is because if we start up something brand new at another point in the future, then calling it Wings of Anadar may just seem kind of odd, even though it could potentially be in the same time frame of the world. So I'm going to brainstorm on that, think on that. But this will be the very last episode with the four of us all playing in this exact campaign. As far as RoleThis in general, RoleThis will continue on, but we'll be shifting gears and transitioning to something different, but still in the world of tabletop role-playing games. So with that being said, we're not going to tie things up too much with any kinds of updates or announcements other than that. Just keep your eyes on RoleThis.com, specifically the website for all the updates. The website itself will be changing too, but keep your eyes on that for all the updates regarding what RoleThis is going to be transitioning into over the course of the next couple months and then throughout 2020. So 2020 is going to be a big year, but got to get a lot of stuff ready first. So with that, let me get to the right screen here to recap things, sort of, because it's been a while. It feels like it's been a really long time. I think it's only been like 2 weeks or whatever, but for some reason it feels like it's been ages. Anywho, last time on Wings of Anadar, Elanduar snapped awake, suddenly noticing that Mazikeen had gone missing. After rousing Kael, Strats, and Coral, they found a trail made by a large humanoid creature and the markings of a slight struggle where Maze had been resting. Following this trail, they came to a cave in the side of the Cloudspire Mountains with bones and various refuse strung about the entrance and the tunnel leading inward. Entering the cave, they snuck up to where an abominable Yeti was sleeping, but Maze was nowhere to be seen. Suddenly, the Yeti caught their scent and sprung awake as Elanduar drew his bow and fired in the same moment. A battle ensued, with the Yeti falling to Kael's blade. After the battle, Elanduar picked up some tracks, leading further into the mountain down a smaller cave tunnel. Traveling this tunnel, our group began to hear beautiful singing sounds and started seeing these female shapes out of the corners of their eyes. The singing began to entrance the group, but Elanduar and Kael were able to shake it off. Unfortunately, Coral was not so lucky and began rushing towards the sound around a corner in the cave system here. Turning the corner, chasing Coral, Kael and Elanduar stepped into a blue-lit crystal chamber with a glowing teal pool of water, with 6 beautiful nude female humanoids lounging and swimming, one holding a hand out towards Coral. Kael pretended to also be entranced and followed towards Coral. As Kael grabbed Coral by the back of her armor and yanked her away, Elanduar slipped away from 2 that had begun to kind of corner him off to the side. And in these 2 actions, the figures changed drastically, their blue eyes flashing to a blazing red, their beautiful features flexing and morphing to hideous visages of teeth and claws, mouths expanding beyond what they naturally should as they snapped forward and they raked their claws out towards you. The pool itself, which was this beautiful crystalline water, erupted into a gout of fire. This blazing right in front of you, Kael, Strats. And where you're running towards at the moment, Elanduar, with Maze still nowhere in sight, the 2 of you need to roll initiative.
Oh, natural 20.
Nice.
3.
Well, Elanduar, that's the way to start things off. As for Kael, Strats, well, we'll see where things go.
I'm always better.
I'm going to do a quick double check of the audio there, make sure that I don't have anything screwed up, so we are good. And so what we have then is Elanduar at the top. So, Elanduar, as I'm writing out the order here, how will you begin in this instance?
So I'm charging at...
So you're kind of running
Kael.
towards Kael and Coral, which
Kael
are right
Coral,
up by
and
this
and they've got another one. They've got a
Yeah, so
siren right
what
in
you
front
guys
of
can see in this exact moment is there's one that's kind of in the fire that is like lashed out towards Kael and Coral, trying to grab Coral back. And then there's the two that were right behind you that have kind of lunged at you, but not quite connected. You dodged away. You're very dexterous in your movement at that point. And then the rest of them that were there, because there were 6 of them, the other 3 have dove down into the fire and disappeared as far as you can see.
The one that is closest to Kael and Coral, I will attempt to shoot it.
Okay.
Shoot it.
Shoot her!
Shoot it with the bow that is bathed in blood.
Okay.
That is a 24 to hit.
That absolutely hits.
1d8. Oh, dang it. Plus 4.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
So 5. 9 points of damage.
9 points of damage. Okay.
I will use my bonus action to mark it as Hunter's Mark.
Gotta do it.
That's the dang it.
Gotta do it.
And then I will attempt to shoot it a second time.
Okay.
With this time, I am going to be doing a sharpshooter
Okay.
hit, which I think is a -5.
5.
Yeah, that's probably gonna hit. That's a 20.
That does hit.
Hey,
Certainly.
Alright, so
Finally.
that is, and it's now taking damage. So I do
you got to
that. I do this, and I do one of those.
Nothing feels more powerful than just rolling a bunch of dice.
Right. Just the avalanche.
Alright, so that's 2 points of necrotic damage.
Okay. And did you do that for your
I did
last
not
one?
do it on the last roll.
What was it for the last one?
9 points
9
total.
Now, with the necrotic?
No.
Or no necrotic on the
That was
last
no
one?
necrotic. On
Roll
that
that one.
one. Another 2.
Okay. So, and then what did you do on this one?
11. 19, 20, 30,
More than 2?
33 points. More than 2, absolutely.
So, 32 on the second one?
On the second shot.
Okay. So, as you hit it,
I'm shooting for the hand. I'm shooting for that hand that was reaching for Coral.
so you go to do that, and it
hand.
goes into the hand right in the center, rips out the forearm, and comes through and blasts through the face here. As this connects here, there is this explosion of like this black shadow that just whips around everything, while a puff of raven feathers just from these wounds as it connects and obliterates the skull of this individual that falls flat in front of you. Now, well, in front of them.
Okay.
And is dead. Very dead. And you get this feeling of kind of like accomplishment, not in the sense of killing them, but accomplishment in the sense of like fulfilling a task, doing a duty of some sort. Feels more as if there's something else at work with that.
Okay.
And that one is very dead. That moves us on to the 2 that are behind you, which are going to do one of their actions. Come on. I have a mouse that I found earlier today, and I didn't hook it up, so I have to still use a little trackpad. So they are each going to claw attack at you, and one is an 11.
That does not hit.
And the other is a 16.
That it matches my armor class. So
It
that hits.
just hits. And that is for one of them, so they do 2 attacks per turn. So like the first one swung at you.
Well, I
and then the
have
second
a feature here that is called it's against multi attacks, but I want to see if like the first one has to hit. When a creature hits you with an attack, okay, so the first one didn't. The first attack didn't hit, so it doesn't count.
What's the full
I get a
definition?
+4 to AC.
What's it called?
It's called
parry?
multi-attack and defense.
Oh, interesting. I actually didn't know that existed.
Yeah,
Okay,
never
so the second one is doing the same thing, and I assume you probably can't use it back to back, or can you?
I can.
So it's basically anytime something tries to.
It's for the
multi-attack.
rest of that creature's turn. So
Yeah.
So this creature, if it hits me once, then on the second attack.
And if
will
it
be-
doesn't hit you the first time at all, and
Then
then
you don't
hits you the
get-
second
Yeah,
time,
you
don't
don't.
get
Yeah,
the
it
AC
has to
bonus.
be with when the first hits.
It's like damage mitigation.
right? So
Like,
it
you're gonna-
has to hit you on its first swing.
Yeah, when a creature hits you with an attack,
Yeah.
you gain a +4 bonus
Okay.
to AC against all
Subsequent.
that word
Subsequent.
attacks made by that creature for the rest of that turn.
Okay. So it pluses 4 immediately to boost
Yes.
your AC on that one. So that makes your AC 20 on that one. And then that would negate that one attack.
That's correct.
So its other one missed just straight up. So that first one that swung at you does nothing to you. The second one rolled 2 18s on both of its attacks.
Okay.
So
So the first one hits, the second one doesn't.
so it still would because
On
it adds
one.
+4, and it's got a +3. It rolled 18, so it's got a
okay.
+3.
Yeah.
So fuck,
All right.
whatever, that dice is dead to me.
Okay.
So that one with 2 21s
Man.
grand total would
Yeah. Hit on the.
Hit on
each. So it
First time I've
is-
used that too.
Yeah, that's a really cool one, and a really baffling one too. But
It's damage mitigation. That's all it is.
it's very similar to parry, but it actually plays off of a secondary thing.
Right,
Basically.
yeah.
So that's where I was kind of lost on it. So the first strike is 9 points of damage. The second one is 6 points of damage.
Okay.
And that's it, because there's only 2 that are still right there attacking, and it brings us around to Coral, who is still trying to come out of all this nonsense and get her bearings. So her turn is forfeit, and then Kael.
So I'm holding on to Coral.
Yeah,
right?
and she is like
How many are
getting
behind
back to herself, so she just misses one turn, and then she'll be herself.
How many are
next
behind
turn.
me?
There's the one. There's 2. There's 2 kind of
They're right
either
next to
side,
me.
right behind him.
Okay. But
Kind
there's
of
none
like a-
behind me.
Not directly, no.
Okay.
They're kind of off to your left as you would turn. They'd be kind of off to your left as you went to face him.
Okay. I am going to. I'm gonna drop Coral.
She starts to grab her knives to get him out.
Yeah, hopefully that snaps her out of it. And I'm gonna just charge the 2 that are attacking.
Perfect.
Or just to get our butts out of there.
And they were not very far away, so you have plenty of
Okay.
movement to get to them.
All right. First attack is 15 plus a punch.
Yep, definitely hits.
Yeah, 23.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great sword. And 20, dirty 20.
That also hits. Yep.
Okay. And I'm going to.
I had to pause there
Shiny
because I was
sword
like,
does
is he doing damage now, or is
Oh,
he still
yeah.
doing
No.
both attacks
He's
back to
doing
I'm gonna
back?
do both attacks, and then I'm gonna do.
Been a couple
the
weeks.
damage. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
so-
Elanduar, you see after this explosion of energy from the kill that you got, Kael just turns, dropping Coral, and raises his hands up as if he's grasping something in the air, and you see that familiar greatsword just as he swings through and just
Does 24 damage.
obliterates the one that was to your left, the one that
lops
actually
its
had
head
hit you. The one that actually had hit you previously, he just very clean cut, kills it instantly.
And then I guess bonus action, I'm going to cast Shield of Faith on Elanduar.
Okay.
So cast, and you get +2 to your AC.
Okay. Sweet. Is that now my turn then?
Yes, bring this right back around.
And I am. It's
It is
Next to me.
concentration.
yeah,
so
it's right
there's
next to
another
it
one.
is
right next to you.
concentration. So if I get hit,
He has to make a save.
I have to make a save, and I don't make a save, then.
all right.
you lose
I'm
that.
going to whip out both short swords.
Okay.
Flank it so that Kael's on the other side and
Okay. Perfect.
do one of those thingies.
Give it a stabby downy motion.
Yep. Stabbyakami. Let's see.
Yeah, Elanduar spins the blades out, kind of ducks under the swing and steps up behind.
26.
Breaks
on the
right
first
into the
one.
back of this one as she turns to face towards Kael.
26 hits.
Yeah, of course.
20 hit.
Yeah, right. That's true.
No, this one happens to be
twice
like,
as
God.
Doubles the amount.
9 points of damage on the first hit.
Okay.
Ugh, the second one misses.
What was it?
11.
It does miss.
Okay. I rolled a 3, but no, 8 plus 8 bonus. Like,
So you got 9 on
Good
that, right?
bonus.
Okay. And then that makes it their turn, or her turn again. Who is...
Oh, wait. Do I get a... Since I'm flanking, do I get an advantage?
Yeah, I thought that's why you flanked.
Okay. I know. I didn't roll the... Well, is 14 gonna hit?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
It does? Wow.
They're pretty low, I see.
9 points of damage.
I mean, they are naked,
9
right?
again.
When you put like 4 or 5 of them in a room,
Yeah.
usually encounters aren't like 4 or 5 things that are hard to hit.
Right. Yeah, wouldn't that be fun?
Unless they're like minuscule.
So, with that, you stab kind of one up underneath and the other one back down, and then just like rip out the spine, kind of grabbing the blades up against the back and twisting them in, and just popping it out of the back. Still connected and everything, but a gruesome scene as this one slumps to the ground as well. Also now deceased.
Deceased. So there's like none left, right?
None that you can see. That that pool behind you is still a like gout of flames, and make the roll that has to do with you sensing weird shit. 2 weeks, and that's what I've gotten to. It can either be like religion or intelligence, something that adheres to your sense of other beings.
Well, I mean, if they're Fae, I can just sense them.
Yeah, or if you want to do that. I'm trying to give you a little bit more of what it is.
Overloaded.
So, wait, no, it's just... No, social fiend.
My mouth was opened on that.
Oh, wait, no, it's... Never mind, I can't do that.
Yeah,
It's not Fae.
do
It's,
a wisdom or religion roll, your choice.
Wisdom is going to be a 17.
Okay, you get a sense that this is probably a portal to the fire plane.
Yeet.
Yes.
Yeet.
And it is starting to kind of diminish a little bit. It's not going out, but it's like the flames have started to slowly go down as you were kind of like cautiously inspecting it, making sure nothing was jumping back out of it.
Okay.
With 17, you kind of actually see a little through there, and it's just kind of just vision of more fire below. But
we don't
with
see
some
maze
structure.
in there, do we?
Maze is not in there, as far as you can see.
Goro, are you back to your senses, Goro?
Yeah, what was that?
Well, they were nice-looking ladies, then they changed.
Puts the knives back in her side.
Now they're just gruesome ladies.
Now they're just dead ones.
She kind of like kicks one a little bit in the face.
In
A
the
face
face.
which is almost as big as her.
Let us go back on the trail for Maze. So, and I remember that it was... I could still see her trail out that
Right,
cavern
yeah.
and then down some more. So
Exactly, yeah.
I'll lead that way.
All right.
Perfect. So you guys head back to kind of that more main trail as Elanduar kind of reminds you guys that you had kind of gotten stumbled off in your rush to save Coral. And in that moment, that was kind of the plan of the sirens. Which actually... I should have done more damage to you. I have my lid over here covering the additional 4 points of fire damage. Because these are modified sirens that are fire sirens now.
Of course, because of the fire.
And so on their claw attacks, they have an additional 4 points straight up of fire damage. So 1d6 plus 3 of slashing plus 4 of fire. But you guys find the trail again. It's fairly easy for you to pick it back up. You knew exactly where you were at previously. And I don't need that open now. So goodbye. So you guys continue down the path there and start to notice that the temperature is rising a little bit. And as you kind of look forward, looking up from the tracks, you see that there is actually a bit of faint light here because, Kael, you're even now seeing a little bit of light in the area.
That's good.
Which makes things a little comforting,
That's good.
but a little wary at the same time.
Getting hot, but
Yeah.
light's good.
Yeah, and it's not by any means like, it doesn't feel like, oh, hey, great, there's another fire plane thing up here. It just feels like maybe a lived-in space. Are you guys going to just continue up at a standard pace or try to stealth up?
Hey, we're going up on something. Douse your torch. Let me go take a look.
Okay.
And I will try to sneak up and survey the area.
Perfect.
I'm not gonna flatter or anything. But... my stealth is a 24.
Okay. Yeah. So you get up around the edge and you kind of just peek your head around and you notice with a 24 that Coral has also followed you. You just notice that she's kind of right below where the back of your cloak is, and you just kind of out of the corner of your eye glance and see her. It almost startles you, and you're like, "Oh, it's just Coral." And as you look around, you see that the cavern that you've now almost entered into doesn't seem entirely natural. It actually looks carved and structured, almost as if there's like various like support bricks and columns laid into place. The sides are smooth cut, and it seems almost like some type of fortress. Like if you think of, this is a ridiculous example to give in D&D, but like Batman's the Batcave specifically being underneath.
So it's a cave, but
Wayne
there's
Manor.
stuff like there's...
Yeah, so there's actual, like it's a cave, but there's
a
structure
facility.
built into it as well.
Like Ironforge.
Yeah.
And you see quite clearly that there are 4 black-clothed and armed tieflings. They are red-skinned, all 4 of them, various hues of red, but all red. And they're currently walking around with weapons sheathed and stuff, not really paying any attention as far as like a guard post type situation. They are like preparing some bags and boxes for travel. Standing on the far side of the chamber, you see something that gives you a little bit of a pause. A 8-foot tall humanoid figure that is armored and helmed in thick black spiked metal like plate. The helm itself, somewhat familiar, comes up in kind of a like antelope style horns that make from floor to tip on this probably more like 10 feet. And it has a like a long black tattered cloak, not wings, just a long tattered cloak. But this knight has a pretty wicked looking longsword or greatsword across its back. Various points of it kind of coming off into this kind of like brambled, twisted, kind of thorn looking crossguard. And then the back end of it matches what you can see. Its back is to you. The back end, the pommel matches the helm that you can see from where you're at, except it's more of a face. And in that face, you see 2 red gems set into the eye sockets. And it's this like kind of vicious, like clawed or fanged maw just opening kind of in this like scream looking situation. And off to the side, you see Mazikeen. She's chained up against a wall, seems to be still alive, kind of rustles a little bit as you look at her, but not enough to draw any other attention. And Maze, make a perception roll.
Base is 19. 24.
Nice.
You just barely make out the shape of something unfamiliar in this space. Off towards the entrance that you remember being brought in, you see kind of a dark cloaked figure, 2 smaller dark cloaked figures, one significantly smaller than the other, and you think you might recognize them.
So do I see that she's like looking at me now?
Yeah.
Is she surrounded by any guards right now?
Not surrounded, but they are continually kind of moving about the area.
I'm gonna call Kael upstairs. Hey, Kael, come up here slowly.
How far did they go to do this?
It's probably only about 20 to 30 feet farther ahead of you than where you kind of stop to kind of hug the wall and just wait. So you could actually see the whole instance taking place, but you just weren't actively right there.
All right. So do I see the big?
You'd have to be kind of around it. So it's like the path goes this way and then goes like that. And then once you get to here, you can see everything.
Okay.
As you start to step forward, Coral turns around like really quick and just like goes like this to you. And then is like kind of like trying to tell you to be like really quiet. And she starts to turn back around towards you and walk off really slowly across the gap of the entrance towards the wall to hug towards where Maze is at. Kael, what will you do?
I'm gonna go back to my hidey hole. She told me to just kind of do this and then that. I'm like, I'm just gonna stay hidden.
Well, I think she might be going to get him. Get Maisie King out of here.
Does lay on hands emit light in this world?
Yeah, usually. Not an excessive amount. I mean, it kind of depends on how much you do. You can do up to 5 per, right? Or do you, your pool is... No, it's
I have a pool of 50, but I've used 20.
Right.
But like if I want to use more...
yeah.
I can.
It's kind of dictated by like, grand healing gesture of all 50 at once is like... Whereas like... I get a little bit better here, like 10 or whatever is not much. It's kind of like a light glow under your hands, basically.
Okay. But so if I do like 10, but I'm not like in direct line of sight of anybody,
it won't be noticed.
All right, I'm gonna.
You'd be fairly confident in that.
It's just like walk all the way back. Or like I'll be back.
1 second.
Just give me a moment.
I was just fiddling around, but I'm gonna keep that roll for Coral.
All right, so as Coral's like heading up there, I'll just kind of like train my bow on whoever's the closest to Maze. If that, as they shift and stuff, I'll shift to whoever's the closest.
Okay.
So just kind of covering Coral.
Yes, and she is extremely stealthy. She's not invisible. You notice that. You think it's kind of odd that she didn't go invisible. But she's not currently. However, she's not invisible, and you keep picking her up every once in a while, but she seems to still vanish as she goes from shadow to shadow, and the only reason you can even see her is because she rolls across the like pathway between a box and the wall one time. And then you see her head pop up over a bag, and then disappears again, and then you see her right there by Maze. And you're like, how the heck did that happen? It's just like, and she's there. No sound whatsoever. And I think actually if I were to add it all up, she would have had over like a 35 on that stealth roll. So that's why. Just to give you a little tie-in. She rolled a natural 20 and her thing is being sneaky. So,
you could tap dance and they wouldn't notice.
Right. As you... Maze kind of are focused over to the side, you see that Coral's disappeared, and then all of a sudden she's right beside you, and you just a quick gasp of breath, but nothing that you think alerted anybody of anything. And then Coral is there. She is going to try to get the chains, and we'll see how that works quite well. So she gets the chains unlocked, and now you are in the state of being able to get free.
Okay. I will quietly remove whatever chains there are.
Roll a stealth roll for me on that.
Oh, well, at least that's a
It's
19. Maybe 24. This usually doesn't happen.
as you quietly and like keeping the chains, like tightening them up so that they aren't making any noise of rustling together, and pulling the clasps off your wrist, setting it down quiet as you possibly can. One of the portions that's affixed into the wall just kind of does this like, and a little pebble just kind of falls from it and kind of just slightly crinkles down the wall. And the Death Knight, you just hear him start to laugh. And he starts to slowly turn around. And Elanduar, seeing this, you notice that his eyes are also these pits of deep red that are just glowing from inside the otherwise completely blackened helm.
How far away is that big guy?
He is probably 40 or so feet from you right now. Maybe 50. 40,
Right, I will shoot an arrow right now.
As he laughs and starts to turn around, the tiefling soldiers kind of drop what they're doing, and they're like, what's going on? And they start to draw their weapons as well, each one having two curved longswords at their sides that they kind of whip out rapidly. And Maze, you recognize not the individuals, but you recognize the clothing that they're wearing. It is a specific set of clothing from a very specific guild within Kazesh that is known as the Hunters. And they are the people you have been trying to get away from this entire time.
The tall gentleman, does he resemble the one that I saw in my vision that put my father on the throne?
Resembles,
yes.
But not exactly.
The same one.
However, roll a memory roll. I think it's wisdom. It's either wisdom or intelligence.
So 19 plus what? My wisdom?
Sure.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, you can go with that.
1. So that'd be a dirty 20.
You do remember seeing that this individual was in the crowd behind the individual that put your father on the throne.
Gotcha.
And at that point, everyone kind of gathering their wits and attempting to do things. Elanduar shoots which bow?
I am shooting the blood bathed one.
Okay.
I'm also doing conjure barrier as well.
Okay. Barrier or barrage?
Barrage.
Okay.
But it makes a barrier?
Barrier sounds really awesome.
Barrier.
I don't think it exists.
Shoot
Somebody
arrow
should probably
into
make that.
barrier.
Like you shoot the arrow in front, and it causes this like kind of magical force field to come up. Like that needs to be a thing. So okay, do your
so that
roll.
is each creature within a 60-foot cone, which would be everything in front of me, takes 3d8 damage on a failed save,
including.
Yeah.
So
you have to do a dex save of 15.
Okay. Okay, so you actually wouldn't hit Maze and Coral in that, just because it's a cone.
Yeah,
thankfully, and they're kind of more off to the right, whereas Coral and Maze. I don't know if I just said kill. Coral and Maze are off to the left, up against the wall, and the rest are kind of slightly right. And what is the save they have to do?
15.
Okay. Which type of save?
It's a dexterity save. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So one of the tieflings, the one's closest to you, kind of like ducks and dodges out of the way. The number was 50, you said, or 16?
15.
15. Okay. The knight saves, and the other 3 take full. They fail.
So the ones that take full damage is 9 points of damage.
Okay.
The ones that saved will take half that.
Okay, so 4. And actually, and it just happens regardless, right? Like it's not based on AC.
Yeah, it's instantaneous. It's on impact. There's no.
And is that the thing you've done instead of the arrow, or does the arrow still do its thing too?
That is so you.
So it's a non-magical barrage or arrow.
It is the barrage.
Cool.
Yeah, I won't be shooting.
Sweet. Cool. I just want to make sure that I didn't also have to do anything with the arrow itself coming at the knight.
So it pretty much creates a bunch of arrows that just
right. That's what I thought.
And that's the damage it does.
So at that point, everybody needs to roll initiative.
Yeah. Natural 1, baby.
Nice.
Rolling hot.
So that puts Kael at the bottom.
Yep. Automatically, you know.
Yep.
I mean, I could beat it.
Because Coral didn't get a 1 either. So, anybody over 20? 15 to 20.
19.
19. Ooh. Okay.
I know, I'm not rolling my normal. This is weird.
That's funny. May's the top, Kael at the bottom. And where were you at? 12? Okay. So that puts that one above you. And then that one. And then... Oh, wait, shoot. I did backwards. Maze, what will you be doing?
As I am, since I've been discovered, Coral and I are making our way back to the group. I turn and I cast Cloud Kill.
Okay.
It is a 5th level spell. I create a 20-foot radius sphere of poisonous yellow-green fog centered on a point. So I'm going to try to get them in there. They need to do a save of Constitution of 13.
Okay.
If they fail, they take 5d8 poison damage, or half if they succeed.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter if they hold their breath or don't need to breathe, they still get affected.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
It gets in your eye.
Yeah, it says creatures are affected even if they hold their breath or don't need to breathe.
So even a robot would.
Yeah, that's what I was reading.
It's like corrosive. It's like
that's why they said yellow.
What type of damage is Conjure Barrage? Would it just be piercing?
I would believe so. Yes. It would be piercing because that's what my main bow does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Or a thrown weapon.
Good
so you throw.
Because of resistances.
They're like blunt arrows just to hit it. Like,
everything I do is
just to most skeletons.
Okay.
Specifically to most skeletons with the barrage.
And so the save on Cloud Kill was what number?
13.
And what type?
Constitution.
Okay. So, what's the damage that it does?
Oh, it's 5d8, or which I have not rolled.
Okay, roll those.
Okay. $23.
23. Okay. So that means that, let's see, I got 2 of them. Wow. Okay. That's intense. So you hit that, and since they were all kind of clumped around each other, you hit everybody. However, the knight just kind of takes it in because it's poison damage, right?
Yeah, it
takes it in, just breathes it in, and just kind of flexes and draws the sword from his back and starts to walk towards you. The others immediately go into a coughing fit of and try to get out of the cloud there. Is the cloud persistent or is it instantaneous?
Yes, the fog will move 10 feet away from me at the start of each of my turns.
Okay.
Rolling along the surface.
So you kind of do like this
yes,
thing, and it just keeps
cloud,
going.
and it keeps going away from where I'm at.
Awesome. Very cool.
It is a concentration one, up to 10 minutes.
You really adopted poison.
So
I was born in it. Raised in
Right. Actually, that's very
That's
in line with this type of creature.
I didn't
So
breathe fresh air until I was a man. And at that point, it was flowery.
So the four tieflings are going to attempt to kind of move forward and out of this, and that puts them between, and they're pretty rough, but not yet dead. And it puts them kind of between you guys and the other two. So you guys are kind of split, 2 on one side, 2 on the other, with the Death Knight facing down with Maze. It is his turn, and he is going to wait. What the hell? That's the tiefling. So I was like, where the heck is his stuff?
What the heck?
There it is. Okay, cool. So he is going to step up and take his. Jesus, there's so much notes on this guy because it's such a big type of thing. Sword attack first. Yes. Yeah, so it has 3 attacks with the sword. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So, I'm not going to taint Coral's dice with that. God. That wasn't anticipated. So
With every swing.
the opposite of that. A natural 20 on the big die. A 14 plus 11 on the second hit.
We are not.
And an 8 plus 11, so does 19 hit?
19 does it, yes.
Okay, so all 3 hit, one of which is a critical. God. And so that is...
When the DM
The reason this is the last episode of the season is because it is a TPK.
And that is... Wait, which one's it?
I thought I had something against critical, but that was the other character.
So...
Yeah, that
was the one they had.
Like doing one shots in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like all my one-shot characters at OP.
Where's the... I want that one. That one. Okay. So the critical does 18 plus 5 is 23 points of damage.
Okay.
The other 2 do 11 and 10 respectively. So 21 plus 23, 44 points of total damage. And
wait, 44 on top of, or is that
That's total.
total. So a grand total of 44 plus something that I believe you're resistant to.
fire.
Are you not resistant to necrotic as well?
Actually, there's for some reason just his defense is fire, but I should be resistant to other things because of my form.
Should be fire and necrotic for Euro resistances because of your innate stuff. But
that's not what's in that form. Okay.
you also take 12, 13, 18 points of necrotic damage, which is halved to 9. So 9 points of necrotic as well. Okay. And that...
Which activates Hellish Rebuke.
3 times.
That'd be awesome.
Wouldn't that be?
It doesn't work that way. Shoot. It's been a while since I used that.
Right.
I'll find
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
Scroll it down. It's a feat.
1 foot.
Just one
It's
foot.
a foot.
Yeah. Where is it?
And as he's slashing into you, he hits with all 3 strikes, steps back from you, and just stares you in the face and says,
I don't have to bring you back alive. I just have to bring you back.
So the Hellish Rebuke towards him.
And then that
Yeah.
waves off right after he finishes that
I
sentence.
do that with a nice magical middle finger. You know?
Yeah.
It's like
It's just... and it just kind of shoots off.
Dex save 15.
Of 15?
15.
Yeah, 15 on the die.
Alright,
So he does make the
so I'll get
save,
half,
so it's
I
half.
need 2d10. My d10s.
The top you look
20
at
points
once.
damage.
Is that it? Yeah, that's
Copy.
one. That's one. Yeah, that's one. So we'll take
It's the one with 12 sides.
So that's 11.
11?
So you take half.
What kind of damage is it?
That is. What's the little fire symbol? That is fire.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
What's the fire
damage, that's
symbol?
interesting. I would have thought that it would
Yeah, I
be
thought that was necrotic.
Yeah.
Well, it's hellish.
Hellish, yeah.
No,
Which one would
not
that?
vampiric rebuke.
It should be.
Usually,
With her character, it theoretically should be,
Yeah.
but we'll go with fire because it makes it to where you actually get to do something. And so
Good to
that, what was the total?
Lock that.
that
here.
was 11.
11?
Yeah.
After the half or before?
That was before the half.
Okay, perfect.
Here.
So that makes it 10, 5 rounds.
And if you want to do 10, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Oh, thanks for being nice.
Resistance means -1. That would be hilarious. Okay. So,
Make resistance so worthless.
which that takes it to its turn.
Huh?
But that was its
No,
turn.
no, that was its turn. That was
Yeah.
your thing. That's right.
Yeah, that was my
reading that and I was
reaction
like,
to
I was
its
like,
turn.
that's why I paused because I was like, this feels
Yeah.
wrong.
It
It goes to
And it attacks
Elanduar's.
Elanduar.
It goes to
Oh, it's my
Elanduar.
turn. My turn.
Because he takes his 3 attacks and then boom.
He's been dead.
So you have all
we've
4
got
of them
4
kind
baddies.
of clumped-ish, line-ish situation, mad scramble
Is
to
the
get out of the
gas
fog.
cloud still a thing?
It's continually going
Oh, yeah, I
away.
need to roll for Constitution.
Oh, yeah, you should.
Concentration.
Concentration. Gotta
Constitution
concentrate
for
the-
concentration,
See, base
and it is gone.
15.
You don't even have to. You could have rolled
Does she
a,
have to roll
15.
concentration for every hit?
exactly, but a 15 itself makes it go away
Okay.
because of the half your total damage
Is it?
situation.
Okay.
Yeah, which that when your total damage was
Yeah, but it's-
60 something almost. So even just the first roll drops it, and so the cloud goes away, but the others had they're continuing their movement. To try to get out of it, and Elanduar, you now have 4 individuals that are kind of slightly disoriented in
Which
front of you.
one looks the most hurt?
3 of them look equally hurt, and 1 looks a little better off.
I will take one of the the ones that looks really hurt.
Perfect.
And shoot
Shoot
it.
the one on the far right side of the group.
And I'm using Woostapass now on these.
Okay,
guys.
so
Get a little good whistle going on in
And-
this little cavern here.
yep,
That is a 25 to hit.
25. It definitely hits. So I forget what the AC actually is. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Ooh, nice. 10, 18, 22 points of damage.
And it like blows off one arm of this individual. Like they are wrecked, but just like and they fall down and they're prone now. But they're still got their sword in their other hand and they're starting to try to get back up. But they are very hurt.
I'm gonna put.
Actually, wait, that was
That was a little dude.
yeah. They've been hit previously, so he does not try to get back up. He's dead.
Okay.
You blow off the side of his upper torso and he falls dead.
Out of the 3 that are up,
forgot
the
they
one,
Tries to get up for a little bit and then just was like, oh.
I forgot that. He like does this like.
the one that is not as hurt between the 3. I'm gonna cast Hunter's Mark on it, and then do a sharpshooter shot on it.
Okay.
Ooh, nice. It's a 23. Yep.
That hits.
Okay. Oh my gosh. That's 2.
Good rolls
Yeah.
on the damage.
That one wasn't as good. Actually, I can't use that. Because my Colossal Slayer I can use only once per turn.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it was only one at least. But we're at 11, 18 points of damage.
Okay, so again, you aim towards another. This one strikes right in the middle of its head and just red mist scenario. And it just kind of like comes forward like it's going to swing at you, the headless body, and then just kind of crumples over itself and does this like really disturbing, like limp-bodied somersault and lands crumpled on the
I'm
ground.
going to move Hunter's Mark onto one of the other smaller guys.
Perfect. So there are two more kind of between all of you guys, and it is their turn. They kind of look back and survey the situation behind them, and then both of them kind of rush forwards towards the two of you, or towards, you're not actually there yet. They run towards you, Elanduar, and are going to each swing at you with each one attack.
They haven't touched me.
Yeah, he hasn't
With
touched you,
a 19 and an 18.
Both hit.
Both will hit.
Okay.
Even with
Wait. Are these two
Individuals
attacking?
Yeah.
Okay.
My AC is 18.
Yeah, it's only on multi-attack.
Did you say pathetic 18? That is 4 points of slashing damage from one of them, and 8 points from the other one. So a total of 12. And that is the end of their turn.
I'm going to roll for my concentration. I got an 11.
Yeah, for your thing. You are fine.
Yeah. My Hunter's Mark.
Right. Yeah.
That's concentration? I didn't know
Yep.
that.
I forget that all the time.
I thought it was a one and done thing.
Yeah. So at that point, it brings us to Kael Strats.
Okay. Where's Coral at?
She actually, that's right. She's before you.
Yeah.
You rolled a 1.
I forgot that.
She rolled
I knew I left a space there for a reason, but I just didn't write her down. So she
big brain plays here.
is going to kind of see the situation directly in front of her and attack with her bow. She's going to kind of dodge off to the side, do a roll, jump up and fire with her short bow. And roll actually quite poorly to the point of where I have to actually check her stats. And its stats... Ooh, she just hits with a 20. And as the arrow comes in, it is going to use its parry and swing its great sword around just one-handed on this massive two-handed weapon and just block away the arrow that she fires at it, doing no damage in the end because it adds +6 to its AC when it parries. And that is Coral's turn as she vanishes and kind of, you don't know where she goes.
Coral does coral things.
So Corals.
Coral is rogue.
Coral rolls away.
And
those rogue
now
things.
it is Kael Strats' turn.
All right. So around the little corner thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do I recognize this person?
Roll wisdom.
Mm-hmm. It is a 6.
No, but you also firmly know that it's not the same thing you've seen before that you thought it might be.
Okay.
It didn't take much for you to determine that part, but you don't know otherwise whether or not you know who this is or what this is.
All right, well, around the corner, and I just kind of shout, like, "You took my friend. You attacked my friend. And you've been causing all this trouble on this continent since I've begun. We leave here, one of us, a corpse."
And it just kind of ignores you completely, Maze. And just takes the sword and turns and just kind of flexes and like does the whole neck crack thing, facing at Kael Strats.
If I charge to this individual, do I provoke any attacks of opportunities?
It's a wide enough space where if you kind of pop left and then up, you'd be fine. You'd still be able to get there since he came up towards where Maze is.
Yeah, I'm gonna just charge him.
Okay.
And I'm going to give him a little smackaroo.
Perfect. So you run forward, the
conjures
great
a
sword
cane.
still in your hands. Yeah. A little wand appears in Kael's hand and he strikes him against the face.
Alright, so the great sword hits or swings for 26 on the first attack.
26 does hit.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Wow,
Second
26
attack
would
is
even hit
gonna
if he
be-
had his parry still available.
Second attack is going to be a dirty 20.
It just hits.
Okay. I'm going to roll some dice and do some math and get back to you on that. Because I will announce
Sounds good. And
that I'm going to smite
right.
with 2 third level slots.
Okay.
So to give you an idea.
Oh yeah, for each thing.
One
hit,
for
yeah.
each attack,
Yep.
yeah. So
Cool.
smite is in here somewhere.
He will still
It's
be
something
alive,
crazy.
even with wherever that hits. So we are good to jump to Maze as the math is happening there.
While he's doing that, like after
Is he a
I've been
fiend
attacked.
or undead?
I'll get back to you though.
Okay.
Head up.
I'm moving towards them to put basically Kael and everyone towards me. I want to be in an area where I could possibly cast. Where is it? Mass Cure Wounds at a 30-foot radius. So I want to hit like all the party.
Okay.
And then
And you get to choose who gets hit by that, right? It's
yeah.
not just like
it's not like everyone.
There are two.
boom, let's heal everybody.
Yeah.
I
I
figured
could
that was the
choose up
case,
to
so-
6 creatures. Obviously, I choose the
Your
4
people,
friendly people.
Perfect.
I just gotta roll for that,
Okay.
which is 3d8 plus 1.
And will that be all of your?
That will pretty much be all that I can do,
Perfect.
because that's a spell, and all my follow-ups are not much I can do.
Perfect.
So
it'll be 16 HP to everyone.
For everyone?
Yeah,
how much?
16.
Thank you.
You overhealed me by 2.
It's the first I've ever healed you. I think.
I could still use some more.
Same here.
Yeah. Okay, so I had 28 on the first attack.
Oh, oops. That's all worked out.
Is it a fiend?
That's right. You were gonna ask that. It's fiend or undead is what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yes, it would fall into the category of undead.
Ooh.
Calculator. Activate.
It's considered a martial undead.
Okay.
Oh, good. So there's that, and then I'm going to roll these. So first attack.
And Elanduar, what
right.
you do will happen after what it does. So you'll just be thinking, but not yet.
I'm still taking care of the fall.
72 damage.
72? Okay. Which I will just add that real quick here. 79 total. 79 total damage has taken place against the knight. And as you rush forward and cleave into the armor, you get just in through the plates to actually make some contact with the form. And it just kind of takes it and just kind of like raises the blade up and just lets the hits kind of impact with it, knowing that they're going to come through regardless. And then I'm not going to do that one. It actually has command as a spell that it can do. I'm done trying that.
It's like, oh, really? Because wisdom saves +8.
Yeah. What it is going to do instead... so many options of things to do. What it's going to do is do its multi-attack right back to you.
Okay.
And I forgot something that it can add. And so the first one, it swings back at you, and you actually dodge out of the way with it. The second one is a 21 to hit.
Yeah.
Okay. And the third one is a 30 to hit.
No, that one misses.
No, just that one.
21 hits, but I've got
That's the
super multi-attack defense.
yeah, right.
In which, if I get hit with one, I just don't get hit.
Right.
It's like uncanny dodge.
I was just saying,
plus
isn't it
walk
like a candy dodge? You get smacked and you're like, oh, wait, no.
I think Uncanny Dodge just allows you to have any damage that you
Yeah.
take.
You still get hit.
It does. Good grief. 5, 10, 20, 25, 30 points of damage with 15 of it being necrotic. The rest is slashing.
Resistance to all?
Yeah. And then it's also going to...
So 15 is necrotic, so it goes down to 8.
Yeah. You have resistance to everything then.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it
all
was a total of 30, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, total of 30, so just 15 is your grand total of what you actually take. And
Well, it's all like types of damage that spells do, so they don't do like... I don't get slashing resistances. I get resistance against like energy types, if you will. So necrotic, poison,
thunder, fire, ice.
do you get it
acid.
against psychic?
psychic, yeah.
Cool.
Like anything that a spell would do.
Yeah, I say that's good for you because it's going to staggering smite you, which is a wisdom save. And it's a wisdom save of 19.
Okay. If I don't make it, what happens?
Full damage if you...
It's just half damage.
yeah,
if I make
full
it.
damage and disadvantage on your attack rolls, ability checks, and can't take reactions. And that's until the end of your next turn.
Okay.
So you'll have those disadvantages, and then you'll be good to go again
Okay.
if you fail.
Wait, is this a reaction?
It's a smite.
No. He's attacking me
Yeah.
as a reaction?
What? No, he's attacking you because it's his turn.
Oh, okay. We killed everything.
Yeah. We went from you to Maze to him while you were
And
doing
what's
your
it need
math.
to be?
You need a 19.
All right, I made a 19.
Nice.
Roll an 11 plus 8.
So the total is 12, 14, so 7. Right? Yeah.
What is it? A type of damage?
It is psychic. That's why I said 7.
Okay.
You still take the full amount, it says. It doesn't say like on a save you take half. It says it deals this amount, and then the target has these other things if it fails.
Okay.
But you succeeded, so you
conditions.
don't have the conditions.
You don't get those conditions.
All right. Okay.
So it's 7 because of your resistance,
Got it.
and then we're on par. And
It's
then
complicated.
it where did I write that down at?
Yeah, I'm just gonna hit him with every smite. I've got 4 more left. Just 2 more rounds of smite, and then I'm
Right.
spent.
Gonna
Spent,
smite
folks.
the shite out of him.
Yeah, and it as after it hits with the searing smite, it poofs into this mist form, and will not do exactly what I thought it was going to do with its thing that it gets on it. But then it will be 30 feet away from you, so it will appear next to Elanduar, but not take any action against him.
So like
it's still,
Misty Step? Or?
it's basically that. It's
This is the evil version of me, y'all.
right. It is.
basically
It's
was
black
like-
mist is what it's called. And it is now
This is so flavorful.
the two tieflings' turns on, or no, it's the Elanduar's turn, then the two tieflings' turns, if they survive.
I hope not. First tiefling, I'm going to do a sharpshooter shot on it.
And you have disadvantage because they are on top of you.
Oh crap!
Or you could redact that and use your blades or move first or whatever you want to do.
I forgot that they pulled up on me, didn't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah. You could use Woostabas as a glaive. You could use your blades, or you could move back one step basically and be back to normal. Because it's within melee range, you have disadvantage on ranged attacks.
Yeah, I want to. I'm gonna step away.
Okay.
From them.
You started to say the word disengage. Are you disengaging?
Disengage is an action, right? So if I did that, I wouldn't be able to attack.
Oh, that's right. It would be an action for a non-rogue. That's right.
Yep.
So that's true.
So I will
just move back.
I will back away from those two. The big guys are right next to me too, right?
Not like right onto you. That's why he didn't take the swing, because you were about 40 feet away from him.
Okay, well I'll step away from those two, away from that guy as well.
Yeah. That's crazy. It wasn't 20s, but they each rolled a 19 on their attack of opportunity from you moving, which is 7 and 4 points of damage. So 11 total points of damage on that.
All right. Well, then now I will shoot them with Woostabast. First one, sharpshooter. It's
gonna be a 9.
It's a 9.
9?
Yes.
Doesn't hit. It just off into the side of the chamber on the far side.
All right. The second one I will not do sharpshooter on. Oh, of course. 28 hits. All right. 1, 2.
And your sharpshooter would have hit if it wasn't for being sharpshooter.
Yeah. That minus 5. Like, oh, I probably didn't need it. Because that's an extra.
Enough,
like sharpshooters. Big guy.
22 points of damage.
22 points of damage on that one. Wow, that's exactly what you did to the other one that you killed. It's exactly 22. And with this one, again, missed. Dead.
Hunter's mark on the one that's still alive.
Okay, perfect. And it's like, Pua kind of glances back over its shoulder and is very much more afraid of what's behind it as opposed to what's in front of it, and kind of like, all right, and gets ready to go against you. And was that your turn?
That is. I don't think I have any bonus actions. No.
Okay. So then it's going to take the steps forward towards you and swing up at you and miss with a 10.
Yay.
So the fear kind of taking a hold of his actions and kind of throwing him off a little bit.
Concentration. I failed a concentration check.
Of? What were you concentrating on?
His
your
AC.
Oh, my
thing.
AC.
Okay.
So you don't have that anymore.
Okay,
You're back to your normal 16.
Right, which, where we were, it was all right. So,
it wouldn't have affected anything.
Yeah, I'm like, the first one was like well over 18. The next one was well under. I'm like, well, okay, we haven't had anything bad happen.
Exactly, right. Nothing that would have been affected necessarily. So that brings us to Coral.
So I just rolled for concentration because they hit me on the reaction. I got a 6. And I did 11. They did 11 points of damage.
Which means you're good because you're over half. It's now Coral's turn, who you can't see, and is going to.
I almost stepped on her. I'm sorry.
Say you almost stepped on her because ironically she darts out from between your legs, and you just, this one sitting in front of you, you just hear this and he just falls to the ground with both of his legs gashed fully upwards, crossing his midsection and coming out above his hips. Coral like goes through him in her invisible form, so you just see this explosion below this figure's waist.
Nice.
And Coral appears right afterwards and kind of spins in the air, disappears as she hits the ground and somersaults off right up near where the other guy is.
Good one. I left that one for you on purpose.
No response. And that makes it Kael's turn.
Well, how far is this?
30 feet.
30 feet. Wow.
He poofed away from you 30 feet, which is still within your range.
I can just run over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm gonna do that.
It's more of a thing that has an effect when it comes to what it's supposed to be able to do after it does that.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna run up to it and then attack it with my sword.
Okay.
2 times.
Okay.
Nope. And a 18
Misses.
Okay.
You rush up and it doesn't even block anything. It just kind of sidesteps each one back and forth as you lunge towards him. And
I kind of mutter under my breath like, Cora, I could use some help right now.
and let's see.
Just like whenever he wants to.
Right. That is that. It is its turn now. Maze. No, Maze. It's Maze's turn.
Yeah.
Okay. I am sensing like this is a very bad place to be in, so as an action, I'm going to request my deity's aid, which technically at this time would be, I believe, Marilia now.
You kind of pledged yourself to Marilia, yeah.
So it just says, as an action, you roll your deity's aid, roll percentile dice.
Yep, that's the
the
2d10, so that's this and your d10.
Oh, that. Okay, so I rolled those.
Do you want to roll it? Do you want to roll it?
Sure. We'll see how this goes.
27.
That's a 20. Okay, that's wondering how that works. Let's see. If the number rolled is equal to or less than your cleric level, your deity intervenes. If successful, you can't use this feature again for 7 days.
So your level is 10, right?
Yes.
And what did you roll?
A 27.
Then it you kind of call out and like try to focus, but you can't quite grasp everything with the transition of following one deity into trying to morph what you may know or believe about another that you aren't even sure if she is a deity necessarily, but you can't quite those thoughts and second guessings kind of get in the way of it actually feeling like there's no effect.
And then bonus action, spiritual weapons.
Okay.
My leaf comes out.
Yep.
The leaf. It's a happy leaf.
Yep.
Yes.
The leaf just appears over the night.
Next to Kael.
Okay. And it gets to
Actually,
attack
if I have the range, if I could put it behind him.
he's kind of up against the wall.
Oh, he's okay.
You
So
can put it
next
above
to
him, but
gotcha.
and it gets to attack on its appearance, depending on how far away it can be.
It's next to the big guy as possible. The range is 60 feet.
Ooh. Oh yeah, you're good.
Okay. So +5 on a hit. Oh man. 12. Man, that leaf is killing me.
And he just kind of steps out of that one as well. Surprising in his movements that he's able to take at such a large figure. And now it is its turn. And Kael, you are directly in front of him. And it is... he's going to take his attacks against you again.
Where'd my leaf go?
The leaf has resistance.
It
Just
does?
let you know.
Spiritual weapon does?
Leaf cannot be frightened.
Yeah, I don't think it can be.
It can shake
so
like a
you
leaf.
have a 30,
It's
a 30, and a 20.
Wow.
So 30, 30, 20
The
the hits.
The 2 30s hit.
The 20 does not? Okay. And that means it's with the sword. So it goes back over to here.
Owie.
Which is... and you're resistant against everything that this does? Is that correct? Slashing and necrotic?
So not the slashing.
Okay, so
just
necrotic.
the energy types.
Okay.
So So, yeah.
Which the necrotic is, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Necrotic is 11, 12, 19. So you take 18, 9 points of necrotic damage. And then the 15 plus 12, 25 plus 2, 27 points of slashing damage.
Boop, boop, boop.
And oh, that's right. You can use smite every time, can't you?
Well, yeah, as long as you have spell slots available.
Right. Yeah. Which he has 3 of. Oh, you could use it on every hit, can't you?
You can.
I was gonna say I didn't call it up beforehand though, so I'm just gonna do the last one, which is psychic damage on the actual thing because it's the staggering smite, which is 12, 13, 14, so 7. Again, that's weird. And yeah, it's a wisdom save.
Yeah.
19.
17 plus 8 is
Okay, you're good.
25.
So you're totally good. No effects, but you do get the slight extra damage. And then it is going to mist away again. This black puff of almost like if you imagine a like black charcoal gets just puffed up in front of you. Yeah. And then it's going to then reappear with the same thing right in front of you, Maze. And it takes an attack when it does so with the sword.
So there's no attack of opportunity from.
No, that's the point of the. Gotcha. That's the point of the mist.
Did you get Sentinel?
However, it
is
it has to be a 2 on a die plus 11, so it's only a 13.
It still hits.
13 hits?
Yeah, my armor is 12.
Oh, that's sad. So 13 hits with just one of the sword. Is that the same die? That's weird. Sharp edge versus round edge. He does the lowest possible amount of damage he can do with the actual slashing, which is 6.
Okay.
And then I need you to do a wisdom save.
16.
16 fails. So you take 12, 17, 19 points of, well, I guess it's necrotic damage. So 19 points of necrotic damage. And you have, in short form, disadvantage on everything, but I'll keep it up here for when it gets to your turn to explain that a little bit more. It's basically attacks, abilities, and you don't have any reactions.
Okay.
Do you have a resistance to necrotic?
She's not within 30 feet of me, is she?
She's exactly 30 feet away from you.
Oh. Wow. My aura gives resistance.
Nice. So it would be, what, 7 then?
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere along those lines?
I thought we were a little bit farther apart.
No, it's 9.
It's
Sorry,
small,
it was 9.
cave.
9 is what the half is.
Yeah.
Because it was 19, but down to 18. And that is the end of its turn, which makes it Elanduar's turn.
Okay. How hurt is it looking?
Looks fine.
It looks fine.
He's got a couple scrapes on the armor from where Kael hit it, but overall it's pretty good.
What you gotta do here?
Right.
It does seem like he's making more aggressive movements.
Yeah, it's already got Hunter's Mark.
Okay.
Because it moved from when Coral killed the one thing. I'm gonna move towards that door opening and then shoot it twice with Woost Fast.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, that's a natural 1.
It's a miss.
I want to put Hunt Sharpshooter on the second
Do it.
one. We're going to Sharpshooter the
Gotta
second
go
one.
all out.
That's a... Nope, that's not going to hit. 21 minus 5.
16.
Would it hit
16.
without?
Yep.
Actually,
No.
it wouldn't have because he would have parried, but, you know.
Yeah. Well.
No.
So you can feel good about that, I guess. Like, it had nothing to do with your sharpshooter. It still would have done it. You still wouldn't hit. So, okay. So is that everything for Elanduar?
Yeah.
Okay. Coral, actually, what does Coral has? So, Kael, you feel a sharp pain in your right thigh, and it is suddenly then suddenly from that point you feel this kind of like pulse of energy. It scares you for a second because it feels like what's happened with poison before. But then it warms and you like feel a little bit better, and you gain 16 hit points.
Okay.
And you see a small little dagger stabbed into your leg that has a oh god, it's exactly the fucking Thanos dagger. It looks exactly like that. I was just about to describe it, so it looks like that. Except the liquid is emptied from it.
Yeah.
I've only seen that once. That's okay. Anyways, moving on. Then that's her action. So Coral has helped, and it brings us to your actual turn.
All right, Koro. I need your strength. And I'd like do the whole lay on hands and I just spend the rest. Come on. I haven't got all day for you to be trouncing about. One of us is gonna be a corpse here. Again.
Huh. It's a natural one. So you say that, you call out like that, and you almost feel unheard. You're like, that doesn't make any sense. This bastard's always here. What the hell? And nothing happens as you like tense up, preparing for that jolt of energy, and are just left slightly deflated of not having it hit. But you're still good on all your actions and stuff.
Oh no, I'm talking like I'm talking to the dude. Okay. Like stop trouncing about. Like, let's
Okay.
do this.
Okay. Yeah.
Perfect. And then muttering to myself, "Come on, Coral."
Yeah. Let's go. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit on this as you charge forward. It doesn't hit this turn.
Okay. All right. Well, I go in, and it's gonna be like a 16.
Okay. Well, that doesn't hit.
Okay. Well, let me try
your
again.
attack.
Hold
Yeah.
on. All right. So this one's a 22.
This guy's a dick.
Yeah. No,
So just parries it away, making his AC 26.
Between me and Maze,
I mean,
because like
you could. What's your movement?
30.
He would not be, but he is not.
Okay.
He's off to the side, so you two are kind of like this,
Okay.
like facing right up against him.
All right.
If you were a rogue, it would have done stuff.
I know.
Not trying to turn you into a rogue, just saying.
No. I've played rogues.
Yeah. The amount of times I bring up
That's,
rogue stuff, though, it just is always it amuses me because it's not intentional.
Yeah.
But is that everything? Okay, Maze, you are now standing right there. Kael is just to the right of you, and the knight is in front of you, towering over you.
Okay, so he's like right there. Okay. So many things I could do. I'm just trying to figure out the right way of doing this in the right order. Okay. So I guess I will start with, I'm going to do channel divinity, turn undead.
Okay.
And let's see. Gotta see what I gotta do because it's like an action. Okay. As an action, you present your holy symbol, which is a leaf. Speak a prayer.
Well, that one's gone.
That's how strong this spell is. I'm telling you.
It's come into the real material plane. And
each undead that can see or hear me within 30 feet must make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. That's interesting.
Which I think my saving throws are 13.
Okay, rolled 11 on the die, and it's got a +3, so that is 14.
Passes.
Has advantage, so it's 14, so it saves.
Okay. Let's see. It also can't take reactions.
Which are used.
Well, that's if it. It's just, I'm trying to figure out like what else.
So
use dash or escape.
It may.
It just doesn't say. Like it just says. If the no, that's if it pays. Okay.
Yeah. So a turned creature must. Oh, let me read this.
So if it
Go ahead.
succeeds, it's not.
That's what I was
turned.
All right. It is. It is turned. Now, if it fails its saving throw, which it did not. Then don't worry about that. So, and then the second bit is to do if it is turned. So
so it's not, it doesn't turn.
So because of that, it's all nothing happens.
Yeah.
At all. Okay. So you hold up your symbol, which at this point is what?
It's a leaf.
It's a leaf.
Oh, okay. Just one of the leaves. Yeah. The leaf from Morelia.
Not that leaf.
Okay, I was going to say, that leaf's gone.
A Morelia.
It's a leaf.
Okay.
This is a happy leaf.
Perfect. Yeah. So you just used to have a leaf, which is perfect for maze, and I love it.
Yeah.
And you're just like...
It's a different kind of leaf. It's not the pointy one. It's just really bonus action, spiritual weapon's going to go try to smack it.
Okay, the spiritual weapon. You hold up the little leaf, and it kind of like fizzles out a little bit, and you're just like...
Next leaf.
This giant leaf goes causing this like wind to rush through the cave here.
23 to hit.
And does actually hit. And just patters into the side of him. The first damage that has been done in 2 or 3 rounds now, I think.
Yeah, I gotta pull that up because I summoned it as a bonus. I think it's like 1d8. Okay.
Oh wow, it's already his turn again.
What's that? 6. So it'd be 7 force damage.
7
My
force
leaf
damage.
uses the force.
Okay, perfect. So that means 86.
I can't hit it, but my leaf can.
Right? So just and then just kind of preps itself. It almost looks like it's like it doesn't have a face, but it almost looks like it's glaring. Like the veins of the leaf are kind of just like
leaf, yeah.
And that brings us to its turn. Not it, the leaf, but it, the knight. The leaf is now sentient. It's on its own, drawing a sword. No, I love that idea, but no. So
I like that too. Army of leaves. Right. Leave me alone.
That's an interesting thing I could do, but doesn't seem right. Oh man. This is so even having like NPCs that had full stat sheets and stuff, this is still the most complex thing that I've ever ran from like this side of the table. Okay. Yeah. I'll do that. Okay. So Elanduar, you're in the doorway?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're out of range, but what it's going to do is take the sword and spin it over its head like it's going to swing it down again at one of the two of you, but instead it's going to just slam it down into the ground, and a burst of flames just envelops the area there between you and into the wall and around and off the edge of it, engulfing the two of you. And you will each need to make a dexterity save.
Of
18.
18. I make a 17.
15.
Okay.
Did you add 2?
No.
Why not?
Oh, I always forget. Yeah.
Yeah, add 2 more.
So that'd be 17.
Damn.
Yeah, still not there.
Okay, so. Okay.
Luckily,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
passives.
Oh, okay.
He's getting out a lot of
I thought I
dice.
had at least 10 sets of dice.
It's like you guys are going to
All
be
ones.
walking in
All
water, walking in
ones.
lava. I know that feeling.
Yeah, see.
Like in a pacifier? Yeah, I heard there's a minotaur that lives.
Yeah, there's a
like that.
minotaur that got
Yeah.
his ass burned.
It's not like roast beef.
Okay. So, what's the easiest way to do this? Probably with a calculator. So, holy shit. Okay, so it does 5 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2. So 30 points of fire damage. So take that however you need to. Resistances and such, consider that into the
Yeah,
account.
both resistant to it.
So 30 points. If you're both resistant, makes it 15. So mark 15 down, and then I have another roll to do.
Just makes lava happen.
No, it does necrotic damage as well. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2 plus 3 plus 6. So that is 34 points of necrotic damage. So 34 points of necrotic damage.
You would take.
Can I go to negative?
I think
does it just drop me down to 0?
That,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
and then you
I was
go
like,
into
does
your
it do I have
failures
to
and
math that?
successes. Nope.
Yep. Thank you.
In 3.5, it would have killed you.
Oh, really? Like,
Yeah, if you go to negative 10, you just die.
Nice.
And the way that saves worked was like if you failed, you took a you took a D4 of damage for failing to stabilize.
Gotcha.
So if you rolled 3 4s, you were dead.
That makes
But
sense.
if you rolled all 1s, you had 10 save attempts. So,
Okay.
but this way is better in my opinion
Right. So that.
because you're guaranteed 3 saves. Otherwise, it's just like I do 10
Take
overkill.
it.
You're just super dead.
Plus
In 5, if you see, if like an enemy hits you while you're still unconscious, that just takes.
Yeah,
away one of
that's
your
an
saves,
instant
right?
death. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it is.
so Maze taking all of that damage falls to the ground, unconscious at your feet, Kael, as you are struggling to maintain yourself as well. He will then mist out again,
He's like,
appearing next to you, Elanduar, and not doing anything with all those dice.
So is the fire still going?
No, it's Hellfire Orb is basically Fireball.
Go.
So yeah, and he will swing his one attack at you after his appearance for a 26.
26 to hit. Does hit, yeah.
Okay. And, oh god, my book's in the way of my computer screen. And that is... Sorry, okay. Just one. 8 points of slashing damage plus D8. Yeah. Okay. Where's the other 8? What's it saying? There's the 8. Plus 18 points of necrotic damage.
Oh. 18.
Okay. How are you looking?
Very rough.
Okay.
Hey, what
Coral's like untouched.
And that brings us around to Elanduar. It is now your turn. You're standing right up against this guy. Nobody else is... I mean, as far as you know, Coral's fine. Kael is still up. Maze has fallen in front of you. You're unsure of what's going on there.
So is he blocking the door now?
No, it's a massive opening.
Okay.
But he is right beside you.
Pocket sand.
Pocket sand. I'm gonna take out my 2 short swords and attack.
Okay.
Just attack. 18 and less than that.
Yes. And he doesn't even move. He just kind of like shifts his body as you can like stab forward with one and then just kind of shifts around the other, just kind of staring at you, not even saying anything, no acknowledgement of anything other than his opinion that you're dead. That brings us to Coral, who... What can she do? She can... Trying to see if she's got any other special things that I've got on with her. Okay. So, Coral is going to shoot at him first. I guess I should determine if it hits. I'm really hoping it does. Actually, I'm just going to roll her die. She does have advantage on that. I got asked a question at Midwest Game Fest during the DM panel about fudging rolls. And I was just sitting here thinking about that whole thing while I rolled. I rolled a natural 1 on the first part of this advantage roll. And I rolled a natural 20 on the second. And I was thinking about having that be a thing. But as you guys can see, my hands were back behind me as I was explaining that. And it's a natural 20. So what she does is she appears, just completely appears, takes out the bow and fires an arrow that hits. And as it hits, she then jumps around a stalagmite and kind of like sets back into it and then releases the bow and it like goes super taut. And the knight was going to swing at you, Elanduar, and it just its arms are caught by this arrow that's shooting through both of its forearms, having just gone beneath the bracers and hit through kind of the holes in the mail that's underneath that, and just kind of affixed its forearms together and is now clenching and pulling back its arms together like this, almost kind of its own volition, like a winch. And Coral is now fully visible and has not gone invisible again, and is just standing there with her hands on her daggers, trying to pull them out. And the knight will have it is restrained until its turn, when it can likely break out. So that makes it Kael's turn.
All right. Would I have the time to just do a quick pulse check?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you reach down and kind of, oh God, and then you can feel that she is still kind of like shallow breaths and barely hanging on type of situation.
Hang on there, Maze. We'll get you out of here.
No response.
Correct.
And I just turn and I'm, moving towards him.
Mm-hmm.
You're killing my friends. You're killing the forest. You're killing royalty. It ends now.
Okay. And what will you be doing?
Well, I'm moving towards him, and I'm still kind of just like to myself, Coro, come on. I'm weirdly swinging my greatsword at him. Full strength, but
Yeah. And as you do that, add 2 to your roll as your last step kind of echoes and you feel your body kind of rise up, almost throwing you off in your swing. And then your arms kind of extend out as you swing down.
27.
And that will hit even... He's going to use his parry. He's going to try to use his parry. But as he kind of goes to it, it just kind of throws everything off, seeing that whole change. And he just kind of misses the parry. And you get a clean shot down at him.
Okay.
Because as he goes to do the parry, the kind of winching action pulls his arm out of the way a little farther.
Yep. And then second attack. Not going to hit. But the first attack did, so. And I'm going to use a second level spell slot to smite.
Okay.
Which is 2 plus 1 for the second, and then 1 because he's undead. Roll all these ones. Okay, that's still a good deal. So 5, 15, 19, 27 points of damage.
Okay. Finally broke 100. And actually that would be one more on that. 13. And is that the entirety of your turn?
I kind of just spit in his face.
Okay. And that brings us around to Maze as you are on the ground and need to make a death saving throw.
That's a d20, right?
Yep.
Add
20
2.
plus nothing.
4. That
4?
was a fail.
Fail.
Now I get my usual rolls.
Right. It would play out that way, wouldn't it?
Okay.
And it is already out of freaking nowhere back to its turn.
Well,
And I should have written out like a actual script for what his actions would be.
Yeah.
But there's no way to really do that works,
Mm.
I have to look up one of his spells that I'm mildly remiss to use.
Doing 2 points.
Okay. Huh. Okay. Well, I was just thinking on what it can do, but there's only one thing it can do, right? I mean, it can cast a spell if it wanted to, and that's what I was trying to go through of which spell to do. But it is also currently restrained by that grapple. Yeah, it'll try to break out of it. And certainly, as expected, succeed. 19 plus a bunch. And it just like shatters this, the arrow, the rope that was pulling in. And you hear Coral's bow kind of just clatter to the ground behind the stalagmite. And as it does that rip apart, there's like this puff of this kind of like shadow energy across there. And then he just kind of squarely faces you, ignoring Elanduar now. And it is Coral's turn again. Or no, it's Elanduar's turn. God dang. I keep looking at, so I have all the I have everything crossed out here, and you're kind of like in that jam up.
I'm in the middle
So
of
I'm just going to erase them. Erase the dead people.
You said raise the dead?
Erase the dead people.
I mean, I could, but I don't know.
Oh, Jesus. Action. Okay. Nah.
Oh,
he's not concerned. He doesn't think he needs any help, so he's not going to do that. But he can raise the dead.
Erase the dead.
Yeah.
So I'm still in 5 foot. I'm right next to him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's turned.
Is he flanked?
You're.
No, we're not.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's
He stepped
flanked.
up and he stepped to you, and then Kael came up behind him, and he turned and faced Kael.
All right. Well, we'll
Yeah. No, he was kind of yanked to face Kael, and then
All right. Well, I
continue
will
to
stay
turn.
flanked, and I will hit it with the short swords a couple times. Hopefully. Oh God, no.
Advantage.
Oh, with advantage.
On each
Thank
attack,
God.
so you have
Thank
2.
God.
Okay, I missed.
That's still only a 5 at
Okay.
at advantage. That's better. 21. Or yeah, 21.
One will hit.
It was its turn, and
Or it parries it.
yeah. Doesn't even look behind itself. It just kind of it hears the of the first one, and then has a feeling there's another one coming, and just takes the sword and just kind of like spins it in an arc behind itself, and just catches it right before it connects with its side.
As a bonus action, can I take my water skin and down it? The water skin of blood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll a Constitution save.
I was gonna say like you're just downing and downing.
No, that's fine.
Add 2.
Add 2.
That'll be your
14.
Add 2.
Okay. So you do that, and it is now Coral's actual turn. She's going to just shoot. That's plus. What's her plus on that? Her bow's good. I forget what it is though. Oh, she does have 2 shots though. So she shoots once and it misses by 1. But the second one does hit, so she does get that. That is okay. Oh wow, nice. So she does 13 points of damage to it. And that is her turn. And Kael.
Yeah. Guess what?
Yeah.
When I hit it with my sword, with advantage, because
Advantage and your +2 for your strength.
Yep.
Because you're now in your hybrid form.
So 21 or a what's a 14 plus 16 plus 8? It's 24.
Yes.
So
That
the
hits.
first one hits.
This is
Another 24 or a 17. So 2 hits, but no crits.
okay. Yep.
And I'm going to use level 1 smites. So it's 2 plus the 1
And he's undead.
Because he's undead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 for the first level and then 1 for the undeadness. Reroll the ones. Much better. Alright. So there's 10, 23 plus 4, or plus 5. So 28 for the first attack. Reroll both of these. Alright. And then we've got 18, 25 for the 25 for the second attack. So 28 and 25.
Okay. Maze, need you to make a death saving throw. This is now your turn.
1.
Natural 1.
A what?
Natural 1.
Pink.
So you failed the first one.
Yes.
Failed the second. Oh no. Natural 1's on that.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, a natural 1 is 2 death saves failed. So you guys see the purplish red spectral leaf that had been floating above the space where Maze had fallen, and it suddenly just kind of bursts, and you hear this and Maze goes limp as these reddish glowing leaves just kind of rain down over her body. They land on top of her form and then seem to kind of like stick to her. Each one just kind of like coating her, almost like a blanket, just completely covering her.
Maybe a shroud even.
With a slight purplish red glow slowly fading down as the moments pass. And it is now the knight's turn, who witnesses the same actions, the same things that I just described, is still alive, but is actually looking quite rough. He sees that, sheaths his sword.
I think I'll be going now.
And hits you on the side of your head that's now level with his, Kael, and says a specific word.
Vexlashag.
And you feel more pain than you have ever felt in your entire life. It feels as if your body is being ripped apart piece by piece. And it doesn't feel as if it's ever going to end. You want it to just end. And with that word, it casts power word kill. And Elanduar, you watch as black shadowed energy, more than you've seen this type of thing happen before with Maze's necrotic energy. This is something different, something larger, something much more intense. You see the whole room darkens down, and Kael's silver form, the scales blacken and almost mummify up against his bones as he falls to the ground. Both of your companions seeming to have now just in almost the same moment died in front of you. Coral off to the side. No! Disappears, reappears beside you, and grabs your cloak and just starts like pulling on you, like frantically, like trying to yank you back away from this. She's like crying now. She's completely distraught She's left her bow behind. The blades are just sheathed at her side, and she is just using every ounce of strength she has to try to pull you away from this.
Right. I will turn to Coral. Let's plat. I cast Pass Without a Trace.
Okay.
And get out of there. Once we get up into the tunnel, to the part where it's a very small amount, I will use Woostabas to create a landslide also.
Okay. So you get back near to where the fire sirens were, and right as you pass that space, a moment of like clarity kind of hits you about how you could potentially help save other people from all of this calamity here. And you turn and shoot Woostabast up, which fires into the ceiling here. And as it collapses, you notice that it's just continuing to break the ice and stone here as the entire cave system continues to collapse while you and Coral are sprinting out. Kael, come back to you in this moment. The pain stops and you open your eyes and you're in a space that is akin to a blizzard. And you're looking around as just the snow swirls and swirls around you. You can barely even see your own hands. You have to pull them up to here to see them. And then it just stops. Everything is just suspended in the air. And you hear a voice that you've heard before.
Well, now, I don't think that we should let that continue.
And you feel an icy cold come over your body. And you look forward and then downwards and see that you're looking down into a chasm, or not a chasm, a cavern that you were just in. You see your mummified corpse laying on the ground as this knight, blade sheathed over his shoulder, steps forward to pick up Maze's lifeless body and complete his own mission. As you witness this, an uncontrollable rage takes you, and the space quakes around. And as you're looking down, you notice the snow begins to fall through beneath you, and you feel as if you're falling as well. And you look to your form on the ground and notice one hand kind of clenching and moving. It's the hand that has the ring on it. And as the hand does that, it changes and grows farther. And the ring itself seems to expand out, and the wrapped bands of wooden vines turn to a silver color, and then the stone that was a vibrant green turns blue, and then all of this melts out onto the hand and up the arm and continues through until the form reemerges, still weak and sickly looking, and then starts to move, and you feel as if this is something you're just witnessing happening, like it's no longer your body. And then suddenly the falling rapidly comes to, and you into your old form. As you hit, an intense field of energy surrounds you, and your body expands to a size that you are completely unfamiliar with. And you are still feeling as if you are not even remotely in control of the situation, but you now tower over this figure. And your elongated neck stands 30 feet from the floor as the knight stops, not touching Maze, and slowly turns, feeling the presence behind it, hearing the noise of and thunder. As you kind of glance up momentarily, you see that it is the blizzard has come to this space. A storm is inside here and has begun to coat the floor in snow. And you spin rapidly, your tail coming around, reaching all the way across this small chamber here, and slams into the side of this knight, which, I don't need the statistics for it, is impossible for him to avoid because you have taken the form of Koro. Koro, the righteous warrior, has returned to the world by your sacrifice in fighting for your friends. Your friends that all but one have survived this. Koro, your squire, has run with Elanduar, your newfound friend, out away from this space. It was the last memory you saw as you fell, and you were not about to let this individual have the corpse of your other friend. Striking against the side is his armor shatters and is embedded into him, and he falls to the ground already heavily injured. But as he hits the ground, something else comes into the space. A darker cloud comes in through the cracks of the area here, and the shadows sink into him. And he stands, not able to even articulate and speak anymore. One arm just completely limp, though it is still holding the sword. And he just kind of grabs part of his arm and swings it at you, just trying to make something happen. And you just unleash this cone of silvery, icy energy. And it hits him, and he is standing in front of Maze. You've used a breath weapon before, and you feel and know that it expands out and hits multiple things. This hits your target, envelops him, freezes him, and shatters him. And he is gone. The sword resists it for a moment and shatters as well. And Maze is now in front of a form you are still just trying to be a part of, and still is covered by leaves as the back end of the tunnel now caves in behind you. Is there anything you're going to try to do?
Am I currently just like in completely encased in the falling tunnel, or?
It's so you're in the cavern, the tunnel leads into the cavern, and the cavern walls are starting to crack up, but it's not actively falling yet. But you know that it's on the way.
The tunnel to get out?
The tunnel to get out is blocked off.
Okay. Well, I'm going to... Is my tail prehensile?
It could be, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to pick Maze up with my tail.
Okay.
And I'm going to... When you say blocked off, is it just like rubble? Okay. Do you think that I could probably breath it again and just shatter that rubble?
So you turn towards it, and as you start to do that, you hear a from your right as a stalactite falls from the ceiling, and you kind of dodge, but it was as you were like, and it up the side here and shatters that even further. But then it honeycombs out, and the kind of dual consciousness here of escape from your mentality and utilize this method to escape meets with the now leading mentality of this form, and it is understood what you are trying to do for your friend here. And the ancient silver dragon leaps up and slams into the side of this and just bursts forward. Energy shooting out in front. You're carving this silver tunnel in the side of this cavern here, leaving behind literally actual silver all the way around as the breath leads the path here, almost like a massive mining drill bit. And this is where we pick back up with Elanduar and Coral. You guys are sprinting. The stuff is getting closer and closer as it falls. You rush into the space where the Yeti was. It cracks up the back, and you feel a moment of breath, and then the whole wall starts falling in this space. All of the ice shards coming down completely around you, shattering into the floor, which then explodes upwards itself with the energy. And you rush out through the now shrinking tunnel and jump at the last second, grabbing Coral behind you, kind of flinging her ahead. And it right as one of the final stalagmites of the entrance just into the ground behind you, sending off a wave of snow and ice that just kind of catapults you off down onto the pathway that led up here. You slide for about 20 feet or so before kind of catching yourself on the side of the mountain here. And Coral is like there, one knife into the side of the cliff as well, and just kind of hangs there. And then you guys kind of steady yourselves and you look around and you notice that there are clouds all surrounding the mountain peak right above the mountain where you actually were just in. And you see like lightning striking, snow raining down there. And then all of a sudden, out of the side of the mountain, in this spray of silver raining from the sky, you see a massive silver dragon. From, if it was standing from floor to head, it would be 30 feet tall. Just humongous. Its wingspan is over 60 feet as it flies up into the air. Make a perception roll.
Let's see. 17.
You see there is a form draped in a pinkish red, kind of purple hued blanket of sorts, grasped in this dragon's tail. The dragon arcs up into the air and then flies off towards the northwest.
Coral, I think that might have been Maze. Well, I mean, not the one flying, but I think I saw Maze.
And she's just like kind of furrowed and upset.
It might have been nothing. I can't believe that they're both gone. Can I do like a wisdom to see if I would make a connection between
knowledge, religion,
between him and okay. Natural 20.
The one time to roll a 9 begins and ends with a natural 20.
Aren't you the only one with like a negative wisdom too, or something ridiculous like that?
No, my charisma's negative.
Okay.
Coral, do you think the big dragon was Kael's threats?
And as you say that, she kind of like shakes out of it a little bit, looks up, sees it, and then looks down, and she like kind of fumbles around on herself, and she pulls out a little pendant that you guys didn't know she was carrying, that Kael had given her. when he brought her on as his squire. And it is the image of a silver dragon. And she pulls it out and looks at it and kind of like looks up, and you see it start to kind of sparkle and glow with this whitish energy around it. And she's kind of like, well, I think you might be right.
Looks
You did it. You brought it back.
I didn't bring him back. At least not that I know of. Coral.
No. Kael brought him back.
Oh, Kael brought Koro back.
Oh, we may have a chance here now after all.
He sacrificed himself.
Oh. Well, we have things to do.
The first thing, I need to find some place to heal up. Coral, do you know of an area we can rest around here? Part of your
She looks back at the cave that's just caved in.
I'd rather not be there. do you?
Well,
You're like your enclave, right? Do you have like a little cell around here we can like stay at?
She stops, looks at you, slaps you across the face, and as she does, there's a flash of feathers, and both of you transform into ravens. And she kind of skips and jumps and flies up into the air and circles around you, and you now have your wings as well. Yay. The two of you, after a little lesson, get yourself together. And you now have kind of figured it out with a little bit of Coral's instruction, how in the world to fly. The two of you head back, not directly following Koro, but you head back the way you came, towards Nethershara, the closest settlement that you're aware of that has familiar company.
Yeah.
And a place that gave you a sense of hope for the change that you wanted to see in the world.
That's true.
After what Mithressa had shown you, and her steadfast goal of being inclusive to the various types of individuals that live in this northern region, without shunning or shaming anyone, and bringing everybody together for one sole purpose of destroying the evil that was attempting to take over the world here. You get a feeling that while the events that have happened are sad, and you feel that you have lost friends, you also feel that hope of a brighter future with your darker companions.
I'd like to try to find Mithressa in the bird form. Mm-hmm. Like, kind of go. Is she at like the throne room or whatnot?
It would take a few days to get there.
Okay.
You can.
Okay.
Eventually.
Yeah, I'd like to do that, and then just want to further my training. Mm-hmm. Maybe even finish my ranger training. Mm-hmm. Maybe learn a little bit of rogue stuff too.
Yeah. Maze, you, as the last breath leaves your lungs, you open your eyes, and you're in a familiar world. A world of purplish, pinkish hues. And you're covered in a bed of leaves. And you look up to the beautiful sunset sky, the teal waterfalls in the distance. And you glance around looking for a familiar landmark. The tree that you'd passed through once before. But instead of finding the tree in your search, you instead find a tree-like chair, a large throne on a hillside that overlooks a beautiful forested valley. That the chair itself here grows from the ground and is very large, and set in the center of it, this blackened tree. It's almost this glossy black tree that grows here and forms into this throne. It is a massive, beautifully cut, reddish purple gemstone. And seated upon the throne is Morelia. She looks at you and smiles warmly. Welcome, Maze. It seems you've come to the end of your road on Ursan. If you wouldn't mind, though, I could use your assistance here for a time.
It's much nicer here. You got leaves.
That we do. And she just kind of like swirls her hands in the air, and they just kind of all around you. Kael, you find the forge you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And through time, your conscience does remain. Mm-hmm. And you retain some semblance of life, some semblance of the purpose and justice that you, as Kael Strats, were going for and striving for your entire life. Mm-hmm. You have ascended to be one with the form of Koro. After a lengthy amount of time after the burial of Maze, you and Koro have come to a mutual understanding and mutual symbiotic relationship with each other, forged through your sacrifice and your core beliefs and core dedication to those beliefs. The two of you begin to make the plans necessary for leading the charge against your sworn enemy. Mm-hmm. An enemy that you learn was once your closest friend. The duality of the light and the dark that had come together for a purpose greater than what you initially thought. But then, unfortunately, through the lure of darkness, was severed. And Guthok turned and became your mortal enemy. Your immortal enemy, really. Elanduar, you, in fact, end up joining with the Gauntlet in a role that doesn't make you beholden to them. It retains your freedom to do what you will and what you wish as you set out with Coral in tow to gather others to what you've now learned is actually some form of religious sect that holds the same beliefs that you cared for. After speaking with Mithressa, it was not asked, not requested, but suggested that the Gauntlet may be an excellent place for one of your skills. As a standing army of the Rangers in Nethrashara was not quite in line with your adventurous spirit. The Gauntlet, however, very much values that type of individual. And as you progress amongst the ranks, gaining skill and ability, you start to be brought in farther into a way to where you learn of a mysterious figure, a white-masked, raven-haired woman that is the deity that the Gauntlet follows. She is the deity of life and death in all worlds, and you are now an agent of hers until she sees fit.
Do I get another mask too?
Not yet.
Oh man!
But you are aware of a few of the higher level individuals
I got goals.
have donned a mask. And that is where we will wrap Wings of Anadar. everybody finally having their weeks.
Oh, before I wanted to talk to Mithressa in crow form too,
You attempt to,
and then realize it, and like,
it doesn't work.
Oh, that's too bad.
And that is an even further designation as to why you were encouraged. Choose the gauntlet.
And then
Yeah. I don't need you.
after credits, after credits
So
scene.
that's it. Yeah, for sure.
After
We are.
credits scene, real quick. Right, so credits roll, and then Coral's like sleeping in her little sleeping bag, and a soft, cool wind breezes over the top of her, and she kind of wakes up, rubs the dust out of her eyes, and I'm there, and I don't say anything. I just wink and point at her pocket, and in her pocket is the ring.
I didn't even. Yes, that crossed my mind. But I love that you did that. That's perfect.
And yeah,
You're like, you're not letting that ring go to waste.
She acknowledges it and smiles, puts the ring on.
and then I just one of these.
She winks
then-
back and disappears.
Well, like as she winks, like I disappear.
yeah, so it's like the same thing.
Yeah.
And then she just kind of laughs to herself and rolls over to go back to sleep.
Just picturing a giant sock curled up with like a strip of bacon.
Basically. Basically,
how I
just like hugging
picture
it like
it.
a body
Just hanging
pillow,
it,
just
yeah.
like taking a nibble every once in a
That's
while.
that's how
Oh,
I
yeah.
picture her sleeping.
Absolutely.
How much HP did that guy have?
He had 185, and you guys got him to 178 before the ascension. And the thing is, like, he had the power word killed literally the entire time, obviously, and he wanted to, like, the motivations of that character was he wanted to beat you, like just beat you straight up. That's why he didn't really use all of the things he has, like banishment and hold person and like 17 other spells. And that's why it was so complex when he started hitting the point of like, oh my god, this is actually, I'm losing this. I've got to do something about this. And that's when he started looking at spells, and that's when I started like looking at the spells and getting like, oh god, I got to figure something out now.
Paladins are
And then
great
he was,
duelists.
then I knew the powered kill was there the whole time because I like built him as Death Knight, but with as a class kind of thing. So he had all the Death Knight stuff, but then also had individualized training that he received from Guthok as a general, and
also to be the anti.
And he was intentionally meant to exactly that because Guthok had already returned. So the goal of this individual was to snuff out the potential for Koro to return. It wasn't for Guthok to come in and deal with it. It was for this individual to do so.
Cool.
And so that was just kind of sitting there, and then it was the time for him to use it, kind of thing. And really worked out well for him, didn't it? So, again, those of you watching, thank you so much for embarking on this journey with us. We really appreciate everybody who's tuned in, watched this from the beginning. Those of you that have stuck with us from the beginning, love you. And those of you that have popped in and out, we really appreciate you being here as well. With that, again, stay tuned to RoleThis.com for updates of what's happening in 2020. There may be a couple random streams that happen in December as well, maybe some painting stuff, things like that. But Roll This isn't done. Wings of Anadar is only done. And with that, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. I'll see you next time.